I've got some announcements for a weekly announcement, right? I haven't done this before, so I'm a little nervous. But I'm going to go over what's happening this week. We have Valerie uh, Couson. Valerie is going to be leading on Tuesday evening for Tuesday's meditation as refuge. Ian Chalice, of course, for Friday with loving kindness meditation. Looking then a little further ahead, we have the newish class, which is our um, first Saturday of the month drop-in class for the meditation for everyone. All those meditation questions answered, whether beginner or expert, intermediary, wherever we place ourselves in the practice of meditation. We have that Saturday morning class, and this coming week it'll be Ian. We're rotating that class between the core teachers, and this Saturday that's going to be Ian in the morning, and also a couple of workshops coming up. Right, so we have the Awakening Our Hearts, exploring white privilege to build authentic relationships across difference with Arena Weissman and our own Mary Stankiewicz. That's going to be October 15th. That's a day long coming up. So all on the website, of course, and in weekly reminders in the email, which we're very fortunate that our capable team is taking care of, and generously sharing their time to send out. Why? So that we can have these opportunities to come together and to support one another in a quite profound and radical practice. The beautiful, profound art of sitting down and shutting up for a period of time. Right? It's a rare thing in this world, not often encouraged, but that's what we do. We have a time for meditation, for stillness. Although it's each one of us that ultimately practices in this body, this one here, we find that perhaps it's essential. It's essential for most of us, certainly has been for me, to have the company and camaraderie of like-intentioned friends along the way. So we have this community in the three jewels. We say there are three jewels in Buddhism: Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So Sangha, the community of practitioners, is on the same level of importance there. The three jewels that stand together in harmony: Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Buddha, that's the business of wakefulness, the business of being awake, aware, present, living a present life engaged in this mysterious reality that we're all appearing in. So Buddha it comes there as the awakened one. Buddha, Dharma, the teachings. We have this wonderful depth of traditional teachings. We have contemporary and new teachings, formal teachings and teachings of Buddhism and other spiritualities, but also, of course, the teachings of family, the teachings of friends, the teachings of going to the gas station and to Costco, the teachings of rain and wind and sky. Right? Everything that appears in this reality is a dharma, can be taken that way, taken as a teaching, Buddha, Dharma, and to help sustain us in our practice of the way, we have this sangha, and this is our Sunday afternoon meeting of sangha, and that's a wonderful thing. I don't take it lightly, and I do appreciate you continuing to choose to use the time in this way, to have this time of a Sunday evening. I certainly always feel like I receive more than I give from these meetings, very genuinely. Like many times with classes, before a class, I'll be leading up to a class of a day of, and I'll be like, oh no, I gotta, I gotta, I gotta lead a class later. Sometimes I have that feeling. Um, and yet every time that I enter into a class and sit together with people, maybe share some words back and forth, I leave those classes again reaping or feeling more benefit for having taken part and have received more than I've given. So let's see if I can keep that run going today. We'll start with a sit, with our 30-minute sit. So if you haven't done so already, then please make yourself comfortable, but not too comfortable. Right? We don't want to be when I say comfortable, not too comfortable, to have a supportive posture. It's an active balance. It's an active balance for meditative posture. We have to hold ourselves and set ourselves up straight. If we're a little too relaxed, if we're slouched, although, please honor any physical limitations. The good thing is there is always a posture for everyone, whatever that may be. But with your particular unique physical makeup, how are you doing today? What is the energy that's showing up? Is it a time to sit on the ground with a cross-legged and a cushion, or is it the time to be a little more relaxed in a comfortable chair, or even with your feet up a little bit? You can get away with that. We just have these small little windows on Zoom. We can't, so feel free to put your feet up too. To set the intention right at the beginning. But this time now will be expressed and used fully as a time to be awake and aware and in direct contact with the fundamental essence of my being, of this being. Right? This being that we always are, that is always often preoccupied with thought and the next thing and everything, the laundry list and the things that we need to do and the comings and goings and toings and froings. This is a time to stop. It's a time to stop and allow. A time to stop and allow. To allow all things to be just as they are. Internal, whatever is perceived internally is welcome and can be felt and seen. Whatever is perceived externally in the realm of seeing, hearing, smelling, whatever it is, loud, welcomed, there's a place for everything here. The shift is to not pick and choose, to help us in this endeavor to be awake and aware and still. We have the great method of breath awareness. Bring attention to that breath now as we settle down with soft shoulders, relaxed shoulders and relaxed hands and feet. A nice straight back is achieved not by forcing, but by using the breath action of breathing in deeply, which helps to straighten the spine without forcing. Let's do that now. Take some good deep breaths. Doesn't matter if they're loud, everybody's muted apart from me. So you can take a nice deep breath in, like really fill the lungs, help to straighten. And then that exhalation, breathe all the way out. Just let everything go. All the travails, all of the circumstances, anything that's going on, that's kicking around between the ears, give it away with that out breath. We're just breathing in and fully breathing out. And on that exhalation, let go, but don't collapse in the body. So the body stays still, but the mind is supple. The mind settles down. Body provides the vehicle and the scaffold here for the mind to fully relax and open. Let's stay with the deeper breathing until the sound of the bell. We can follow the sound of the bell into silence. Breath is here as an anchor for presence. If we wander in the mind, disrupt that tendency, but don't judge. Just, there I go, back to the breath. Oop, there I go again, back to the breath. Back to the breath. But as much as possible, if we feel anchored in our breathing practice, really open the heart and mind to sound, to feeling, the texture of emotion and thought even. But don't pursue, don't pick and choose. Everything's welcome here. So please, in your own time, at your own pace, with care and attention, let's take a moment to rise, to stand and stretch, to take a glass of water, and just a couple of minutes here while we stretch, and then I'll continue with the talk. Perhaps we'll start this afternoon with the first passage of the Tao Te Ching, which I very much appreciate. Talks about the Tao here. We could use the word way, the way of reality. We use the word Tao. Okay, so the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. So, wonderful introduction to the classic Tao Te Ching, which is, gosh, some millennia old at this point, talking about this curious reality which we all appear as. It's an extraordinary happening. We may take it lightly or not pay so much attention sometimes. Maybe it's just another Sunday or another Monday or another Wednesday, or here we are again. And yeah, every day in which we open our eyes and greet the morning and get up and make the coffee or the tea is a profound happening, and a rare one. I saw someone recently who came to retreat and here at Yokoji, and he had a T-shirt, and it's kind of like a math calculation of the rareness of being born a human being in the world. To be like in the universe of particles and atoms and planets and stars. Like, what are the chances that we would appear as a human being? Quite a rare chance, and yet we are all expressions of that. I also read recently that since human beings were anatomically identical to how we are now, same kind of body mind, same level of intelligence, same functioning, a couple of 100,000 years perhaps, 110 billion or so people have lived and died. 110 billion human beings. Wow, every one with a unique story and a unique happening. Right? And what are there, 8 or 9 billion or so people alive today? And we trust and hope that many more in the future, although sometimes we wonder if that will continue. And yet 8 or 9 or so billion today, and we are all in that position of being presently the torchbearers or the carriers of this human way that has continued for millions, thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of years. And we come to a practice of meditation, and we realize quite soon with our meditation practice that it isn't a matter of working out reality in our mind in an intellectually arranged, fixed way. It's not that kind of way, but rather it is, as we're often reminded over and over, it is a way that is involved in the direct experience of being. And then it falls to some people to try and say a few words about this, or even to teach this way, and that is an absurd um, career choice. I remember being in like first or second year of high school, and we had to take a class on what your career was going to be. I had some kind of idea. I can't even remember what I'd said at that point, but I'm sure Zen teacher wasn't. I don't think that was even on the list. I remember they gave us a list. I don't think Dharma expounder was on there as something to do. And yeah, down through the centuries and the years, there have been, of course, great examples in previous generations of people who have delved into this mystery with concerted effort and appreciated and found and realized great depths, the great depths of this of realization. People like Lao Tzu from the past who wrote the Tao Te Ching, or the historical Buddha, um, teachers throughout the centuries, all the way down to more contemporary teachers. Uh, Thich Nhat Hanh as an example. That's somebody who I think human beings will remember 1,000 years hence, and still use those teachings. Now, in the Tao, it says the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. So, right from the start, it says anything that we hear that's going to be encapsulated in words or explained, that's not it. Right? So, there's an expression in Zen that says teaching is like selling water next to a river. Right? So, it's like setting up a stall to sell water while there's a perfectly fine river running by. Or Master Dogen, the Zen teacher, said, teaching Zen is one mistake after another. So this really points at something. It is an impossible task to explain the Dharma one to another, to explain the way. I remember I would go to talks by my teacher years ago, when I was first hearing his talks, and there was a part of me that felt like, why doesn't he just explain it properly? Yeah, I just like just I'm kind of following along here, but why don't you just really say what it is that you're trying to say here, right? So, but the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The way that can be spoken of is not the eternal way. It is in the sense of all things are this eternal way, but words are always pointers and reminders, and we're blessed with many pointers in our life. Master Dogen, who I mentioned, he said that as far as words go to explain the Dharma, poetry is what comes closest. And I think that's a good observation. Sometimes if you read a wonderful poem, it'll evoke feeling and texture and meaning, that those words will help carry something out of the darkness into the light. The name that can be named is not the eternal name, any way that we try to fix reality and say this and explain what this life is, or what the meaning is. Although many people try, and there are skilled and profound philosophies and religious writings and ways to point to the reality of the human condition. The Buddha, of course, was a wonderful example of this. Someone who was very adept in the ancient, and you really, when you put it in the ancient world, that these writers emerged from the ancient world before before a lot of scientific discovery, he's able yet to really look into the truth of the human condition. What is going on here? What is the essential truth of reality? What is endemic to this experience? What is shared by all? And then in looking into that, okay, what can we do about it in an effort to benefit us all, to benefit this one here and that one there, to help raise the value. The Buddha was a wonderful teacher in that way, but he didn't name the way. He didn't explain and say this is, even when looking at profound pointers or concepts of non-self. When asked about the self and non-self, the Buddha said very little, but would relentlessly steer people back to their immediate and practical experience and out of the heady territory of existential meaning, always coming back to what is right here, right now. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. So that this is, we use labels, right? We use labels in order to navigate reality. We have north and south and east and west, up and down. We're able to navigate in that way. We can say that's a person, this is a cat, this is a train, and this is a plane. We have these labels. And yet, when we look into any appearance, anything that appears in form, including you and I, and this table that my laptop is sitting on, and this cup that's in front of me, all of these things that we give labels to are the edges of all of these things are bleeding edges. They're edges that run into everything else. Right? We know that scientifically. You come down to the atomic level, and there are no lines, there are no gaps, there's no actual division. That everything is running into everything else. Everything is truly interconnected. So we ought to be careful with labels, because as human beings we have this dualistic sense that we navigate the world with. We fix. This is this and this is that. And the trouble we get into often is we believe in that fixed reality, and we turn those fixed realities into absolutes. Whereas anything that has a name or a label is in fact just relative to everything else. Nothing stands alone, separate and in isolation, including this one here. Yesterday I was in Long Beach. I was actually doing a class on the 8 awarenesses of the enlightened person, which sounds funny to even say it. The 8 awarenesses, which is credited as the last teaching of the Buddha, and some commentary by Master Dogen also on that teaching. The first one of these awarenesses is freedom from desire. Right? That's an awareness, to be free from desire. And in the Tao Te Ching that I'm bringing up here, it says, free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestation. So free from desire. So this first awareness of the enlightened being, to be a freedom from desire. And I asked a group today for anyone to raise their hand if you are free from desire. Have you achieved freedom from desire? And I won't assume. I'm going to flick to page 2 on my laptop just to see if there's anyone. You can use the raise hand feature to, if you are free from desire. But because it's a nonsensical question, of course we all know very well that we, as human beings, there is always the functioning of desire in ways small and large. And yet here the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu says, free from desire, you realize the mystery. And the Buddha said, freedom from desire is an attribute of the enlightened person. But maybe we can look at this from this standpoint. It said earlier about labels, naming is the origin of all particular things. That applies to desires too. We could name certain desires and say, I'm desirous of this and not desirous of that, and start to fix a name, and then realize that there is a constant churn and change of those desires. Right? The freedom from desire, anything we encounter when we sit. We had the wonderful 30 minutes of stillness and silence. During that time, here in the mountains, the light, it changed. It started getting into that golden hour time. It's a little hot still. It seems like summer's having one last run at it this week. I was hoping we were into the fall now, and it'd be cooler. And the heat came back a little bit like, oh, no, I prefer not, but it is. I desire fall, right? I desire an end to summer. And yet when I'm sitting and meditating, it's just warm. That's what it is. It's a little hot. Okay, okay. And yet this is time to sit now. And then the choice is what to do about that. And really to do nothing about that is often a wonderful choice. The active surrender to things as they are, it's a little warm. It's not, it's not it's not dangerously hot. That would be something else. But it's just feeling the warmth of the late afternoon. I may desire things to be cool, but it is warm. A monk asked Tozan, Master Tozan, when you wish to, how do you escape cold and heat? And Tozan said, why not go to the place where there is no cold and heat? Monks, obviously, comes back with, where's that? Right? The place of no cold and heat. And Tozan says, when it's hot, it kills you with heat. When it's cold, it kills you with cold. And that killing of you is is really pointing at the sense of me, self, and the one that pursues desires. Who wants it to be cool when it's hot or hot when it's cold. When it's hot, then the place to escape heat is to let it overwhelm you with its isness, its thusness. Same thing with, so our freedom from desire in this sense is not to extinguish or to try and detach from our humanity, but to rather to introduce, to find and to realize space, the space in which desire appears. Our practice of meditation allows us to realize the space that surrounds all the forms, all the labels, all of the things. You become the empty space in the room that allows the room of the self and the room that we're sitting in. You're the empty room that allows all of these things to appear, including desires, including criticism and judgment, or ideas and opinions and beliefs. That is the business of me, self, the business of I, always involved in things like the 110 billion people who came before, picking and choosing and doing our best to navigate a challenging reality. But the way that Lao Tzu points here to, or the Buddha pointed to, this great way, is to find the freedom and realize the freedom that can experience and hold the rising and falling of all of this phenomena, the desires, the feelings, the content. There is something that is always still, that is always at home, that is always at peace, that is always awake and free and clear. Every time we meditate and when we sit, we have the opportunity to invite that one into the room. The one that doesn't pick and choose. The one that has freedom around desire, around all things. If we are not disturbed or have bias for content in our experience, then we're free. You can experience yourself as you are. All the good and all of the bad and all of the churn all together. It's reaching in to the content in meditation and attaching to that and having a preference. You know, saying, well, this is a good meditation. I had a really good meditation. What does that mean? I had a bad meditation. How could that be? There's just this. We can say lots of things about the content of this, but meditation, the way, is involved in allowing all of this inside and out to be as it is. It's free from desire. You realize the mystery. And again, this is not the Tao that can be named, so you don't realize the mystery and be like, whoa, I got to write this down quick. Where's a pen? Oh no, the ink, get me another pen. I've realized the mystery. I got to write this down before I forget about it. And then, who should I text? I've solved the mystery. It's not a realizing the mystery in this way, but freedom, free from desire. You realize, you make real. To realize is to make real. So free from desire, you make real the way, the mystery, the Tao, this self, this profound happening. It becomes real. You see it. You experience the way that is beyond preference. In ways small and large, as simple and as profound as it's warm, surrendering to the warmth. My mind is busy, allowing, welcoming and surrendering to a wonderfully busy mind. I'm confused, fantastic, 100% all in. I can't find my way out of a paper bag confused. Just be. That's meditation. Is like going in directly without reservation to whatever this present experience is. You make it real in meditation, and then you realize it'll make it real in everyday activity. So as we get up and we start thinking about putting something together for dinner, or flirting with the idea of getting some delivery instead, or whatever, however we're going to do that. You know, all of our life is that's like the meditation of whatever this appearance is now, and making that real. If we're distracted by what's right and wrong in that, and fix on that right and wrong, then we're back into the naming and holding on to those labels. So free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. So that's how, many, as human beings, we often get attached with the forms of life, the ideas of life, the forms, the narratives, the ideas, the belief, and sometimes literally the forms, people and things, and we become very invested and attached to those things. But that's always a very shaky investment. Right? Like past performance is no guarantee of future results with attachment to form. Right? Because forms are impermanent. All things that appear as form, including this very body, is an impermanent manifestation. In constant flux, connection to everything else, and always, background is always being turned over. Right? This is why, as Dharma practitioners, we put our investment in emptiness, in presence, because that is never changed. That is the eternal Tao. But that is you. That is this. That is this awareness now. But that's for one before the name, before the history, before the story. It's for one that the name, the history, and the story all plays out in. That's fine. But caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. If you only see the forms, you miss what's absolute. You miss what's eternal. It goes on, yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. You know, great pitfall of Zen. We have relative and absolute. We have form and emptiness. Okay, now this is form, this is emptiness. This is relative, this is absolute. They arise, these are two expressions from the same source. There's no such thing as relative or absolute. There's no such thing as one and many. But rather we take these perspectives in order to examine, to look into our being, look into reality. But ultimately they arise from the same source, like two sides of one coin. Or like a moon where you see the face of the moon, but there's also the other side of the moon that's in darkness. And it says here in this first couple of paragraphs of Tao Te Ching, number one, this source where all this comes from, relative, absolute, desire, me, you, the whole world, it all arises from darkness. Darkness within darkness. Okay, so, you know, a flashlight isn't going to do it. It's not only dark, it's darkness within darkness. Nice expression. It's like darkness with extra darkness squared. Darkness. It's like give up all hope of understanding this. It is dark. You know, there's another koan by the Zen master Umon. He says, when you look into the self, it is the darkness is dark, dark. He says it twice for emphasis. Sometimes darkness, though, you know, has a negative connotation. It's a little scary, the dark. You don't really want to look into the dark, right? But it doesn't have to be a negative. It's an experiential truth. When you look into yourself, we could do that now. You look into the self. Where does it come from? What is this? Really, in its essence, you can't know. I can't know. We can't know. We're expressions of a whole, the expressions of an eternal whole, which is unknowable and ungraspable to the sages of 3,000 years ago of China and to people today. And yet it ends here and says, this is the gateway to all understanding. Right? The root of that word, understanding, and not like an intellectual, again, like let me write this down, understanding. But the root of the understanding is to stand under something. Then you can really, you see it, like standing under the sky at night. You understand it. It consumes you. It envelops you. This is the gateway to all understanding. That's what meditation is. Not to work it out in a neat way and explain it and then delude other people by trying to explain it to them, right? But rather to sit, to be, to live, to practice in the gateway, always walking through the gate of presence. The present aware, this is the gateway to all understanding. You know, to experience life intimately, all in, right now. All those people in the past are gone. All those people in the future have not arrived yet. This is our experience, our time. to do the very best that we can in terms of how we understand this self, and how we, you know, you look for meaning. If you can find none, don't worry, because you can bring the meaning. You bring the meaning to this life and help others to realize the same. I'll stop there. Thank you. I thought, well, I'm going to start with the first thing of the Tao Te Ching, and then I'm going to move on to this book, and then and then I got as far as paragraph 1, and then, but there's so much, in these, particularly in these rich classics that have stood. There's a reason these manuscripts and things lasted thousands of years. People gave their lives to protect them, hid them, cherished them. They knew there was something here, so valuable to the human condition, that these things have lasted that long. Who knows how many we've lost? So anyhow, I'd like to open it up if anyone has any question or comment, anything that you'd like to share or ask. Okay, let's finish today how we started. We'll have just a 5-minute sit, like a short sit. It's like a sorbet for after a Dharma meal. It's good to cleanse the it's kind of cleanse the palate. Right, have 5 minutes and let it all go. Wring out the sponge, and we can drop all these words away and get on with our direct experience now. Pleasure to sit with you, to practice alongside you these for many years, for many of us, and but whether the time is long or short, this is just right. So thank you. We'll sit for 5 minutes.
Hmm. Thank you all. We have one comment from a sangha member. Also, it's on. Looks like there's maybe a hand raised for a comment. Was that? Did I see that? No. So this just came in on the chat. Was Jokai, when you mentioned about the darkness, it made someone think about a quote from Joseph Campbell that says, "The cave that you fear has the answers that you seek."
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. That's good. That's interesting. Yeah, I would add. Thank you, friends. Again,
Thank you.
yeah, enjoy. Please enjoy your evening. Be safe and well and happy. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank
Thank
you.
you.